Okay. All right, everybody. We are back with this week's like the weekly reader. Kenny is still out doing what God only knows, but we are here and we are ready to go. Super excited and happy to see all of you guys here with us. Brian, you got the folks up in the house. Brian, you got the folks up in the house. You got BK in New York is first. We are
Come on,
glad that you are
BK.
here. Yeah, BK. We got the Biscuit Bar TV. I love a good biscuit. Shout out to Atlanta's Bomb Biscuit, a restaurant that has been rated in the top 50 in the United States of restaurants. Sipping and Tripping is here as well as our friend T Bird. So I'm really glad you guys are here. We have a great show for you tonight. A really good show. We hope that in like a moment we will have joining in here. How you doing, Candy? Love you so much. Hopefully we'll have Anthony Polanco from By Latin Men joining us. This is the month of October. It is Hispanic Heritage Month. Started on September 15th. It ends on October 15th. And we have something special at the end of the show coming up for that. Brian, we got like it's kind of a crazy week. I think, I hate that Kenny can't be here. Hopefully he's going to join us soon. He's moved. So his new apartment that he's moved to, people, is in shambles. In the exact same way that Kenny's new apartment in shambles, so too is the American Republican Party. We are looking at the historic removal of the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, with Speaker Kevin McCarthy, representative from the great state of California, being removed from his leadership position. This man had vote after vote after vote to get the position. In less than a year, he has already been removed. Brian, what are your thoughts? You've made some good content around this. I've made some content around it. I'll open the floor to you first. Like, what do you think about Kevin McCarthy's removal as Speaker of the House? Because I think we probably will disagree on this.
Probably. Listen, I will say this week I'm giddy because first of all, shout out to everybody who's on the check-in and everybody who came over from the Instagram live that I just did. I was just telling them, I think next week what I'll do is I'll go Instagram live at the same time, or, I'll just do the same thing and do a little pre-show before so I can get people over. So shout out to y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming through. This week was a busy news week. And I think for Kevin McCarthy's purposes, he could have saved his job if he just shut the fuck up. That's the biggest thing that I really want to say. He could have saved his job because what ended up. So here's the thing, just to give a little bit of the context, the government was going to shut down. The Republicans couldn't pass a stopgap measure. They couldn't pass any bills to keep the government open. And so in an effort to try to keep the government open, what they ended up doing was going to the Democrats. They had to get the Democrats to bail them out. And when the Democrats bailed them out, and Hakeem Jeffries, who's the minority leader, the leader of the Democrats right now in the House, said, "We will help you," he then went on CBS on Face the Nation on a show and said that it was the Democrats that wanted to shut the government down. He played politics as usual, which is some bullshit, which is Republicans trying to, throw fucking mud at the Democrats, but bit the hand that fed them. And then Hakeem Jeffries said, "Fucking bet. We're going to vote to move you the fuck up out of here because you are a slithering snake. You a backstabbing motherfucker, and we need to get you out." So they got him out. And guess what? A lot of people now in the media, these political pundits and these talking heads talking about why didn't the Democrats bail him out? Why didn't they vote to keep him in? The institution of America is rocked forever. How dare they? I would have done the same thing Hakeem Jeffries did. Newsflash. So what is your perspective, Zach? Because I don't know. You said we're going to disagree?
I think that we'll disagree about some parts of it. Let me tell you what I, agree with in this. And again, guys, I'm sorry for going up and down. But, Brian has a brand new camera that I actually purchased first. Okay, we have the exact same camera, the Sony EV, whatever the hell it's called. And Brian, being younger, more agile with technology, has sat down and set his up. Whereas mine is still, unable to be used appropriately. So I have to use a very cheap Logitech camera, a Logitech, I don't know. But it's like way over here and I'm way over here. And hopefully Brian will make some time this week to visit me at any time to just put the damn camera on the podium so I can project and look as crisp and nice as he does instead of looking like this. Brian, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to look up and down. I will say this. I feel firmly that the Democrats did the right thing. Let me tell you what. Now, I understand. Let me give this perspective here. Is that the Democrats, the Republicans looked Kevin McCarthy, some people supposedly, they were looking to the Democrats to vote to keep Kevin as Speaker of the House because Kevin McCarthy was put out of the House because he voted to keep the government running. Some Republicans, like the nuclear eight who exploded, wanted to see the government shut down so they could place the blame on the Biden administration, say that government wasn't working, say that President Biden wasn't doing a good job, and let the American people suffer. This would have resulted in, veteran VA hospitals suffering, services for our vets suffering, military personnel suffering, contractual workers suffering, janitorial staff in the White House and all the executive offices suffering. Way more of a financial impact on the average daily lives of American workers than what I think, anyone wanted to see. But Republicans were ready to let that happen to people in this country and to this American economy because it would have made them, in their minds, look better. So Kevin McCarthy lost his speakership because of that. Like, if you look at it for a reason per se, although I think the reason was much bigger. The reality is that because Kevin McCarthy kept the government open, which Republicans are saying benefited Democrats. It did benefit Democrats. It benefited the American people. The American people benefited from this action, not Democrats, that they will be saved. Well, Kevin McCarthy turned right around on Sunday. He went on Meet the Press, and he said that, the Democrats are working against him and working against the American people. He literally slandered the Democrats who he was supposedly helping, and the Democrats who would have had his back. Now, he could have played the political game better. He could have said this was a great moment in American history of bipartisan work where Republicans and Democrats reached across the aisles to do what's right for the American people. He chose not to do that. And so in his commentary that was negative and disparaging against Democrats, he turned right around on Monday of the exact same week and expected them to then work with him. Face the Nation. That he would, thank you so much, Lavani, that he would turn right around and then that they would then help him after he's disparaged them. On top of that, though, he also met with Hakeem Jeffries. He also met with Democratic leaders, and they talked about concessions that he would have to give up so that they would vote for him. And he chose not to do it. He chose not to do that. And I can't think. So to me, you can't blame Democrats. And again, I don't think had he not said what he said on Face the Nation, had he given the concessions, I still do not believe the Democrats in Congress should have voted to keep him as speaker because it's time out for Americans to keep looking to the Democrats to save them from the choices that they made. On a small scale, we can say this is the fault of congressional Republicans, but on a macro level, this is the fault of the American people. The American people gave the Republican Party the congressional majority, and they have got to see what that results in. It is now resulting in absolute chaos and shambles.
Well, and let me say this. I think this is the great part about this. The fact that from a strategic standpoint, let it burn. Let it burn. You know what I'm saying? This is because right now, the overwhelming majority, which it should be, by the way, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. The overwhelming majority of press coverage on the 24-hour news cycles is that the Republicans cannot govern. When you have Fox News, when you have Laura Ingraham, when you have all of these people on Fox News that are calling you out for not being able to govern, for saying that this is ridiculous. Newt Gingrich talking about these people and saying how now this has blown up the party. You've lost. This is only fueling. And a lot of people are in from our side like, oh, well, what's going to happen? We have 45 days. Let's get this straight. We have said the government will not shut down for another 45 days. We have 45 days for us a month and a half to get to where we need to get so we can actually pass, another bill. And I think that we will get there. I don't think that we don't need to panic. I think what we do need to do, though, is right now in this pivotal moment, let it show. Let the cards fall where they may and have people understand that Republicans are incompetent because they are, that they have no plan, which they don't, that they have no policies, which they don't, and they have no backups. And this display, this demonstrable display of fuckery in government right now that has fallen to the Republicans, we need to vote their asses out. We need to be able to use this as ammunition to vote their asses out in 2024, recontrol the House, and get an even bigger majority than the razor-thin majority that we had in the past.
Brian, I agree. Anthony, welcome to the podcast. How are you, my friend? Glad you can make it in.
How are you?
I'm good. You're over there. You're looking good. I see you got everything set up nice. You got the hair done late. I don't know. Is that some eyeshadow over there? I don't know, but the eyes like
no.
It's just good skin. Is it good skin?
It's just my skin.
It's popping. T. Bird said if the Democrats bailed him out, Republicans were going to blame them. If they didn't bail him out, Republicans were going to blame them. You cannot win. And T. Bird, I agree with you. Brian, this is what concerns me the most. No matter what Republicans do when they are elected to office, their supporters still support. Their media outlets are there. And I'm going to tell you what was most shocking to me, most disappointing to me, is that as soon as this broke, it was an immediate spin by the media and by conservatives to make it the fault of Democrats. Democrats right now on social media are being blamed for what's happened to Kevin McCarthy. He lost the speakership because of a motion put in place by Matt Gaetz, a Republican. He was ousted because of the vote of 8 Republicans who voted against him, but yet Democrats in the media are getting blamed for this. The Democrats are being blamed for putting government to a halt. This is happening because, and I say that like, why were the Democrats not ready for this to be on the offensive? Why did Democrats even let the spin begin? Now it's all over social media. That is the fault of poor Democratic messaging.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think the Democratic messaging has gotten way better. I think, again, I've been lauding this as soon as Biden HQ, the Twitter account, and then also the Threads account has come out, their messaging has been on point. They've been showing nonstop every single Fox News clip of people on Fox News calling out Republicans. They are showing everybody on every single page, every single platform, every single cable news outlet, everything that they can to demonstrate. And they're celebrating wins. Like, this is something that we've always wanted the Democrats to do, and they're finally doing it. And I think that it's as important as it is, and we do this all the fucking time, Zach, as important as it is to talk shit and deservedly so and be constructive with our feedback on how Democrats should be better off with their messaging, we should also be lauding and applauding when they do it right. We gotta do both sides. I also think on top of that, when it comes down to, and I want to know what Anthony thinks about everything that's going on as well.
Wait, what are you saying? We need to applaud when what is right?
Well, we need to applaud when they actually do get the messaging right, because I think right now they're doing
when do they do it? When do they do it right? Now they're doing it right. When did Democrats get it? When did Democrats get the message right?
So currently, if you look at if you see what the Biden
shutdown.
No, we're talking about all the messaging right now. Currently, the messaging on social media. If you're not following Biden HQ on Twitter, and then also Jamie Harrison has stepped up to the plate because I've seen him actually punch back. They're using the White House account. They're using Joe Biden's account, Kamala Harris's account. All of these accounts who have different reaches and different millions of followers amongst all of them, right? They're actually using it in the right ways, and they're actually doing absolutely. And the thing is, if you're not following them, they have been they have been doing a bad job. They're doing a better job now, and you're not going to change it. No, he's going to do, Anthony. He's going to try to change it up so that we can have a good clip.
No, I'm going to say the fact. No, I'm not doing it for a clip.
Go ahead.
I'm doing it for the truth. Brian, you just talked about Jamie Harrison, the DNC, the Biden account, and the Harris account. They are all the same people following those. You are not reaching the misinformed voter or the voter who is relying on false news sources to give them the factual information. If I am an independent who leans Republican or a full-blown MAGA Republican, I am not looking and following Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Jamie Harrison. What I'm saying is, to me, good messaging is across all platforms, and you are truly leveraging accounts and media that has a different reach. I don't think that they're doing that. Now, let me tell you what I'm seeing on my feeds. You are seeing that and saying that because you follow those accounts and you see what they're saying nonstop. I follow those accounts, but I also follow other accounts, and I look at what's trending. I look specifically to see what are people saying about this that I don't follow and would never want to see on a regular basis. And what I'm seeing is them taking control of the message and getting it out there. The Hill, I think it was the he. I think it was the Hill. The Hill wrote this really scathing opinion article about how this is about Democrats, and that went viral. That went forward. I have no doubt that kind of media is being paid for and sponsored by conservative money. Where is the Democratic funding that would give that kind of argument? Why were not the Democratic leaning and the progressive leaning organizations right there on the forefront, ready to go? Probably because they're not as mobilized and because they're not as funded. Even though more Americans give money to progressive and liberal causes in this country than Republican and conservative causes, that is the fault of bad messaging and bad leadership at the top of the Democratic Party. And I'm talking about Big Daddy Jamie.
Okay.
You go ahead.
I can rebut that. I can say yes. Biden has been doing bad messaging as far as not getting on the presidential campaign trail yet, because it is so far out. But since Donald Trump started so early trying to beat his indictments, Biden should have been out there trying to tout his Bidenomics. But what I can say is I'm not of the school that we need to reach MAGA. I don't give a fuck about MAGA voters. I don't give a fuck about anybody who watches Fox, who's not watching MSNBC, CNN. Fuck them. We don't need to change those voters. They didn't win the last time. Like Trump don't have enough people voting for him to win a general election. So I don't give a fuck about Trump supporters. What I am proud of now is that Biden is talking his shit. He's having more press conferences because they were hitting him with the fact that Trump did more press conferences than Biden was doing, even though Trump is more like a rally. It's not really giving you any fucking news. Now, yes, they do need to do more. They need to do better with combating the false narratives, but this shutdown, there's nobody that really thinks that it is the Democrats' fault. Like, there wouldn't be a civil war within the Republican Party in the House if they thought that everybody believed that it was the Democrats' fault. So that doesn't make any sense. Like, we don't have to worry about what the Republicans are saying, how they're trying to spin it on Democrats, because we all know who's in charge of the House, why they were trying to stop the why they were trying to let the government shut down, because Trump told them to shut the government down. And we don't need to worry about that. Let them kill themselves. We don't have to worry about that. We need to talk about what Biden is actually doing and let them fight.
Yes. And here, let me say this. And to your point, Zach, the thing about it is that it's not just that there's one person doing correct messaging now. What I'm saying is that there's an amalgamation of factors that are on our side right now. And what I mean by that is, number one right now, do you know who was just arraigned the other day? Ain't nobody been talking about it. Hunter Biden. He just had his court appearance. Guess what? They did a split screen moment with Donald Trump. And guess what overtook all the news? Donald Trump. I didn't hear a peep. I didn't hear a peep about any Hunter Biden story. And so this is what I'm saying. You, in the past, you would see Hunter Biden everywhere. Fox News would be covering. Fox News was covering the Trump trial. Number one. Number two, you also have, again, all these people on social media that are doing that. And I agree with the points that y'all both are making, in that we don't need to get to MAGA voters, and we don't need to get to the people that are going to vote for anybody who has the D next to their name, because they're going to do that anyway.
Period.
What we need to do is we need to get to the vast majority of people in the middle, who are the centrists, who are the moderates, who are the independents, who are still on the fence. And by the way, the other thing is, there are people that are Democrats that will vote for the D next to the name that have been in my inbox multiple times, because I've had some videos that have gotten trends this fucking week multiple times, who are like, I didn't know this. Oh my God. Literally today, just before we got onto this live, somebody was like, wait a minute, I didn't know that. Wait, the Republicans don't like Matt Gaetz right now? And I had to break it down in one tweet. What I'm saying is that the messaging's working. And yes, here's what I will say. Here's where I do agree with you, and I will always agree with you. I think there needs to be a bigger support in terms of money and resources behind people like us, who are the content creators. Yes, and because again, we're getting to the people that are in the middle. Right? The people who are not following those accounts, to your point, who are not following Biden HQ, because it is a brand new account, right? Who are not following all these people. We're the people. So they need to do a better job at supporting us.
Yes.
I mean, I agree. I don't want to be doing this every, you know what I'm saying? I started doing this. I'm serious. I started doing this level of activism in 2020 to combat Donald Trump.
Yes.
I would like to be on social media like everybody else, selling skincare products with affiliate links and affiliate codes, making money. You know, I would like to be doing that. I would like to be showing off my fashions and my t-shirts and all this type of other bullshit that has no value, no meaning, and anything of real substance to contribute to this world. But the need is there, and the knowledge is there, and the ability is there. So therefore, I do it, and I make it happen. But again, when the resources are being provided, I do think that the Democratic Party should be using those resources in a different way to be doing this work. We know what Republicans have funded. We know about the Russian bot farms. We know about the fake news sources like Newsmax and OWN. We know how they have leveraged the media to their benefit. Democrats should be doing something similar, not to manipulate, but to combat the manipulation. That's kind of my point. You will not see Kenny tonight, Ricky. Kenny's apartment is in disarray, just like the Republican Party, Shambles, and he is not with us. We'll be back very, very soon. We had a good point brought up. I just want to briefly go before we go into our next topic, and it's going to go directly to what you just said. I think it's a little bit earlier.
Can I add something about the funding?
Lavani's comment, yes.
Okay, so the funding. So I agree that Democrats have the money, right? Because they are raising crazy money every month too, just like Republicans, and they should be funding the messaging. But I love like the disarray that the Republican Party is, and I think Trump is like the best reality TV show we have, and I love talking about him. And I think that Trump does the messaging for us, to be honest, because he like makes all of the he makes everybody see through all the bullshit. Because first they want you to focus on Hunter Biden, then their own witnesses say there's not enough evidence, that it's bullshit. Even Republicans in the House said that this is a distraction from keeping the government funded. Then now we have Hunter Biden finally get arraigned. He finally get arraigned, and it was for lying on a fucking gun application. Like there's nothing about millions from Ukraine and stealing money and Biden helping him. So although we do have to they should put more money into the messaging, because it is an election year. Like officially, it's like 13 months away. But I don't think that it's really hurting us at this point right now. Honestly, I don't think that we're behind the Republican ball right now, because there wouldn't be a civil war in the House if we were.
No, I agree with that. And the fact that Democrats maintain themselves to be in a way that is so united, it is something that I think is admirable. Lavani said, I have a different viewpoint. As much as I did not like Kevin McCarthy, I agree with him too. This is a point I kind of made on TikTok, in a recent TikTok that I posted. Sometimes it's better to work with the devil that you know, as opposed to the devil that is unknown. Now, I feel as though what has happened is that this was an embarrassment to the American public and a disappointment on an international stage. No matter what happens, we're not going to get Hakeem Jeffries is not about to be the Speaker of the House. We're now looking at one of these two people. Well, it's three people, but let's go ahead and show the top two contenders right here with Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan. You have a man who ran against the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan in Louisiana, and who has done some things and said some things that are extremely offensive to minority groups in Scalise. And then you have Jim Jordan, all that happened with him, singlets, wrestling in Ohio, and cover-ups. All of that, and showers. All of that now is what we are looking at as the next Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. This is, to me, a lot worse of an option than Kevin McCarthy, who politicked on not reaching across the aisles. But when push came to shove, we saw that he did it. We don't know what either of these two men will do to stay in power once they get it. And that, to me, is something of great concern. I think Jim Jordan has unilaterally said he is not going to support any more funding for Ukraine. And we know that that's going to have huge international ramifications on not just the economy, but on American interests abroad, but also on the safety and security of America and American interests as issues with Russia continue to escalate. That's why I have to say I agree with Lavani, and I feel the same way. Like the devil we know is better than the devil we don't.
But the thing is that it doesn't matter if it's fucking Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, Marsha Blackburn, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. It doesn't fucking matter who it is. There's no Republican on the floor right now that is going to support that. Number one. Number two, there is no Republican in the House right now that is going to galvanize the caucus and the conference of the Republican Party enough to vote through things. It's just not going to happen. They have no leadership. They have no plan. They have no policies. They have nothing right now. The reality of the situation is, in a world where Nancy Pelosi had the same razor thin margin of being up and being in control, she got things done. They can't get it done, and they have the same razor thin margin. As a matter of fact, they not only have the same razor thin margin, they just ousted for the first time in history the Speaker of the House, and they're thinking about expelling another member at the time that they have this razor thin margin, making it even smaller. So what I'm saying is, all we need is to wait 45 days. In 45 days, I'm sure Democrats will bail them out. They'll vote for something else. They'll keep the government open. They will show how incompetent they are. They'll have somebody in there, independent of who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. The placeholder of any Republican that's going to be in that position will be ineffective. They will be obstructionists, as always. They'll get nothing done, and they will continue to show that they're incompetent. What that does is it fuels us to come out with better messaging, to vote in 2024, to take over the House, and not just a small razor-thin margin, in a way bigger margin. So at the end of the day, I don't see this as a loss. I don't see it as an embarrassment. I'm not buying into that hype. This is we're in the entire world. I understand the grave concerns for Ukraine. Yeah. I do understand that. I'm not throwing that out. But what I am saying is that in terms of I ain't fucking embarrassed. I don't know who we're polling to say who's embarrassed. At the end of the day, the Republicans are embarrassed, and we should not be taking on their talking points of this is an embarrassment in the world. No, they're fucking embarrassed because Republican infighting like this has never been televised. Not to my knowledge, not in modern political history. And so this is a good thing for us. I'm going on record and saying that because right now we can't say that, out loud. I'm saying that. I think this is great for us. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked that question by Peter Ducey from Fox News. Oh, well, is the White House reveling right now? Are they in love with this? She's like, no, we want to do the business of the American people. And that is the right answer to do and to say, because it puts that fire right back on their ass. But make no mistake about this is not a fucking loss for us.
Absolutely. If you don't have an R next to your name, it's not an embarrassment. And listen, Republicans have been making history the wrong way since Trump got in office. So, I mean, they continue with that same theme. And now, I don't agree with the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Because guess what? They're all devils, even down to Mitch McConnell. So, I mean, I don't give a fuck about that. Jim Jordan is never going to become speaker because he will not fund Ukraine. Over 200 Republicans in the House want to fund Ukraine. So it's not a majority. It's not going to happen. Scalia is going to fund Ukraine. I think he may get the new speakership because he has a bigger staffing and he's been there for a long time. And he's using his cancer story for some, cool points. But I think that as long as there's a Republican majority in the House, nothing is going to get done. They're going to keep on passing bills that they know are dead in the Senate because we still have control. And this is just laying the bed for Republicans' death at the next election because we're going to have even a bigger win in 2020. Biden is going to win again, or whoever else runs if he doesn't run. And I think they learned that in these 2 years from 2020 to 2022, they got a lot done, but they could get way more done. And they got to take advantage of their motherfucking majority because Obama didn't take advantage of it. And they can use the Great Recession as an excuse, but you could walk and chew gum at the same time. That's why Nancy Pelosi was so effective, because as a woman, she knows you could do multiple things at once. Biden focused so much on the infrastructure bill and COVID, and he ain't do nothing else. So I think the new president in 2024 is going to take a hell of an advantage of having the House and the Senate with a way bigger margin than we have now. And I don't care who's the speaker because they're not going to get anything done. It doesn't matter what they pass.
Anthony, you're saying you don't care who the speaker is. Well, what if the Speaker of the House is Donald Trump?
That would be my dream.
If Donald Trump becomes,
that
of course is being floated around, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on Twitter. I'm sorry, on X, on the Malcolm X app. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted an excrement. Because that is what I think David Pac-Man, I think it's the Pac-Man show. He's calling all of the different, on X, he's calling the posts excrements. So on the Malcolm X app, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted an excrement where she talked about how great it would be for Donald Trump to be the next Speaker of the House. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, I want to go first because I got the personal shit that I want to say about this.
Yeah.
I posted a video about this exact situation, and I said that this is being floated around. Sean Hannity was interviewing Jim Jordan on his show, and he asked him, he's like, well, I got some sources. By the way, first of all, Sean Hannity has the personal cell phone of Donald Trump. They consistently talk on the phone. I mean, it is joked that Sean Hannity is his chief of staff because they talk so often, right? Yeah. And so he said, I have some sources that say that, Donald Trump is probably interested in being the Speaker of the House. What do you think, Jim? And Jim is over here is like, oh, we'll make it happen, whatever he wants. I think he deserves to be president. That's because Jim Jordan wants to be the Speaker of the House. But he was like, I think he wants to be president, and I think he can do that. But if he wants to be Speaker of the House, then we will do it too. Here's the thing. I think that, first of all, it's allowed. Because I posted this and people started fucking dragging me on Twitter and fucking TikTok. Oh, well, because they fucking listened to some radio show that told them that House Rule 26 says he can't because he's indicted. Bitch, fuck you. First of all, fuck you. Second of all, the reality of the situation, that is a Republican conference rule that is specifically for the governance of the Republican conference. Let me break that down. The Democratic conference and the Republican conference are two separate conferences. It just means that that's the congregation. They create rules, okay, that is used to govern them. They put it outwardly. They put it on their websites. They show that we're going to be held accountable. This is how we're holding our standards. Fuck all of that, okay? They make exceptions every single time. They change rules. They bend shit just to make shit work. Clearly, we've seen that happen when they didn't convict Donald Trump, when they should have convicted him in the Senate, or when they fucking voted all this shit, right? So the reality of it is that he can run. If you look at the actual House rules for the Speaker, there's nothing that disqualifies. There's nothing that talks about the eligibility of a candidate to be. It says that invariably, historically speaking, it's usually somebody from a member from the House already, but it doesn't have to be that. And so he can be it. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Likely not. I think if it does happen, if we're going to concede that it happens, here's a couple things. Number one, he can use that shit as a bully pulpit, right? He's going to have coverage 24/7, just like when he did when he was president. He's going to say outlandish shit, Speaker of the House. That comes with a lot of things.
Like he has right now. Like he has right now. Like this man
Yes.
has not lost any publicity or any press by mainstream or legacy media. Cable news still allows this man to dominate the airwaves.
Yes.
That was a major contributing factor to the loss of Hillary Clinton in 2016 because the media jumped on this man and the ratings that he brought to their networks, and they rode it to high hell, and they are still riding it. It won't stop.
Well, not only that, it was Jill Stein and the FBI, but no,
not only that, but again,
because he didn't even win by much.
Amplifying his voice and platforming him.
But guess what? Like I said, he's the best reality TV show that we have. Now, I saw a comment that said that all of the people agreed to the rule of one person can oust the speaker when they chose McCarthy. Actually, that was the rule before Nancy Pelosi took the speakership. That was always the rule. But people actually respected their job and the House, and they never used it before. They only used it once, I think, in like 1910. But it wasn't successful. McCarthy knew what he was doing. His goal, and I saw this yesterday's Republican speaker said it best. A Republican representative said, McCarthy spent his whole life to get the speakership. But when he got it, he wasted it. Like, he didn't know what to do when he got it. And guess what? He really couldn't do much because of how many promises he made to get it. It took 15 times to vote for him just to win the speakership. So he tied the noose around his own neck because with Nancy Pelosi, I don't think that AOC would have called to oust her. And that's probably why she took out that rule, because we had the progressives coming in, and she's from the old generation. She was like, I'm not playing with these kids. But MAGA don't give a fuck about nothing. They don't respect nothing. Like, they're part of the pond, but they tell you they're going to drain the pond. They lied to your face. So when he put that rule back in place, he was an idiot for doing that. Because guess what? Eventually they would have gave in and voted for him because no one else at that time would have gotten the majority of the votes. Now, I think there will be a new speaker. I think that they will coalesce around maybe Scalia, most likely, or the person who's the interim speaker right now. And I don't think that speaker is going to allow that one person rule because they know they're not playing with these 8 MAGA people.
I know he's from I forget the man's name. He's from North Carolina, but somebody called him a shit weasel on the Malcolm X app, and I can't stop. Every time I see him, I don't know if there's such an animal as a shit weasel, but I can't stop.
You talking about the pro tem?
Yeah, the little man from North Carolina.
Yeah, I forget his name too.
But I think that Ukraine
name now hereby known as shit weasel. I mean, that's what I'm about.
I'm dead. And we all know that nobody loves a war more than Republicans. So we're gonna fund Ukraine. I'm not worried about none of that. I'm not walking around here worried about Trump being the speaker. It's never gonna happen, even though I want it to happen, because he's gonna miss so many days going to court. It's not gonna happen.
Well, look, okay, so T-Bird says, I don't think that either one of them can get to 218. The infighting is real and tiring. The Republicans have so many issues with each other. I'm inclined to say that he's very right about this. What could Democrats be doing, different? And I'll go, I just really wish that we lived in a world where Democrats could find a way to steal for Republicans. We have seen a number of Democrats flip in this country, including the mayor of Dallas, Texas, one of the largest cities in the United States of America, in the top 5 metro areas in the United States. The mayor of Dallas, a Democrat, has switched over to being now a Republican. Yeah. Why can't we get 4 Republicans in swing districts to flip? And even if they lose their seat, is there no way we can give them some kind of concessions, hookups, deals, something, so that we can have a control of this U.S. House as we approach the 2024 election?
What? No. Here, I don't think you're talking about 2024. Okay, sorry. I wanted to make a point, just a quick point real quick about a lot of people who are floating around on social media that Hakeem Jeffries should be the Speaker of the House right now. And I want to say that should not happen, right? I think it's never going to happen, right? No. But I feel like even the thought of it, like people thinking about it or even putting it out into the universe shouldn't happen. At the end of the day, we don't want a Democrat being the Speaker of the House while all this shit is happening, because we're never going to get the votes to do anything. And my fear would be that if Hakeem Jeffries becomes the Speaker of the House, let's say they get people to flip and say, well, you know what, let's just end this right now. Let's make Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker of the House, which won't happen. But I'm saying if it does, that if he's there and we're still not getting shit done, that we will get blamed for it, because that's how people work, right? People don't look beyond the headline. People don't look beyond the soundbite. And so I don't want that to happen.
Things done. We get because we
no. I'm saying with the current majority so like the House, that like he would be the Speaker, but the majority would still be on the Republicans
to flip every vote.
Not if we got 4 members to flip. Not if 4 people flip.
No, but that would require them to flip for every vote that we would put on every bill that we would put on the thing.
He wants them to flip permanently.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I'm saying a real flip. Like, I'm saying you flip from being a Republican to a Democrat.
But how about just voting bipartisanly? Like, where's the problem with that? Like, the thing is
Candy said that sounds like a paid move to me. That's what I'm saying. There are Republicans who are sitting in Congress who are going to lose re-election, and they know it. They are. Yeah, they won their seats because of gerrymandering. And those districts have now been righted by a very biased Supreme Court. So you know it's going to stand. I mean, it's a done deal. They're going to lose their seats. So once they lose their seats, they're going to need employment. You can't tell me that there are not enough liberal, progressive think tanks and organizations out there, even bipartisan political action committees that are committed to working and solving these issues, that would then hire these people at a great salary and allow them to still be functional and maybe even more contributing and better contributing members to our society. Absolutely.
It won't happen. It would never happen because Republicans are so stuck on the popularity that Trump has brought to the party and like going to the most extreme and like reversing all these fucking 100-year-old laws that they cannot see themselves flipping. And Republican voters are so stuck to staying red and being with Trump that they will not vote again if you turn on Trump. Which is why, even though most of the Republicans in Congress wish Trump would just go away, they still have to like not say anything bad about him because they know that he has influence. Now, the crazy thing is that even though with gerrymandering, they did take a lot of seats from Democrats in the House last election, they only got a majority of 10 seats, right? And they only got that from New York and California. 5 seats from New York and 5 seats from California. So they're going to lose those seats again, and plus the seats that they gerrymandered. So we're definitely going to get a majority again. But the thing is, how bad is it going to get before the next election?
I mean, we have what, 9 months? We have 9 months.
We have 9 months.
We have 9 months. We have 9 months left.
The election is in November. What are y'all talking about?
The election is in November.
We're in October.
Yeah,
13 months.
But wait, no. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just there's a video right now.
Later. But also,
there's a video talking about.
What I wanted to add was what the Republicans can say also is that if they don't pick a speaker by next Tuesday, they could threaten to vote for Hakeem Jeffries. They could threaten to flip and just put him in the seat. And then they will be livid because they are power hungry. I think that at the end of the day, right now they're threatening to put all 8 people that voted against McCarthy for expulsion. And I think that they will put Gates probably because I heard, there was reporting that they were almost getting to fists in the back. That's why they took a week break because they were about to fight in the back. And I believe it. You see in these other countries, they be throwing chairs, they be fighting in the parliament. But we don't show that in America. But I believe it because they were upset. Like you saw when the guy announced that McCarthy was getting out, like he slammed that fucking table. Like I believe it.
With all the power, that man treated that gavel like he was Thor, the god of thunder, and he wanted with all his might to break that gavel. And little bitty shit weasel just couldn't do it. Now listen, I want to. We're gonna go now into what's happening in your home state, Anthony, of New York, with your former president Donald J. Trump, who has been ordered to dissolve his businesses, who is currently undergoing trial. I think this was day 2, maybe day 3 of the trial. I think day 3 of the trial. And he's becoming more and more unhinged in that process. So that's our next topic. We're ready to talk about that. But before we go in there, I do want to, because you brought it up, Brian has a brand new piece of short form content that he's posted on both TikTok and Twitter talking about Matt Gaetz and about how Matt Gaetz is now, the possibility of a retaliation for what he's done to McCarthy. Is there anything you want to add to the conversation, Brian, in regards to the research you've done in your viral video?
So I'm sorry. That's why I'm a little bit distracted because my phone is blowing up right now because it literally just shot up from 7,000 to 15,000. Now it's at 21,000. So it is going viral right now. So Matt Gaetz right now, they're doing everything to want to get him out. I know that there was something floated around where they wanted to get him expelled from Congress. This did the whole thing, right? So basically Matt Gaetz said, I'm going to put a motion forward to oust you, Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy was like, well, great. I'm going to fucking expel you. And so this was the whole thing. Now, there are people. So I tied it back to Madison Cawthorn. Let me go back a little bit and give some context. So Madison Cawthorn was the Republican House of Representative from District 11 of North Carolina from 2021 to 2023. He only served 1 term, which is 2 years. He left disgraced from office weeks prior to him actually ending his term. And the reason why was because he went to a podcast and he said basically that there was some people. He kind of hinted that it was the Republican Party that were older in the 60s and 70s inviting him to orgies. And he's like, these people say that they're fighting against the addiction epidemic in the country. And they're over here taking bumps of cocaine. And he's like, these are people that you've admired. And he's like, he was the youngest person at that time to be to get elected. And he's like, these are people that I've admired my entire life, and I see them inviting me to orgies and stuff, right? So he got a little loose-lipped. People didn't like that. And what happened was they started coming out with a smear campaign. It was the Republicans who wanted to get his ass out. He got primaried. He lost. The Republicans put money behind the person who was his opposition, the other Republican. And they took out photos. I mean, he got nasty. They took out photos of him in lingerie with women. They had pictures of it. They said that he had some sexual assault allegations and all that. So
they released the video of him and his cousin scooching on the bed.
In the bed, yes.
In the bed,
they sure did.
On top of each other.
That's the reason why.
And was that the reason? Because I don't know. Did he become a paraplegic later on in life? Because he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Afterwards.
You know what I'm saying? Afterwards. You know what I'm saying? That's why he was switching back. Anyway, so the whole point is
for the orgy. But anyway, go ahead.
The rest of I'm saying. Anyway, the whole point is he got kicked out. So now I tied it back to. I was like, do y'all remember what happened to Madison Cawthorn? Okay, because this is the same shit that's happening to Matt Gaetz right now. Matt Gaetz, this guy, he's the representative from Oklahoma. I forget what district. He comes out. Manu Raju from CNN is interviewing him, and he's like, you have to understand this about Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is the guy that he didn't have anybody, any coverage. He had no media, no nothing. And he was like, now he wanted to do all of this because he wanted to oust Kevin McCarthy so that he can get all this media coverage. But he's like, you have to understand this about him. He wants his attention, but you have to understand he was on the House floor showing us pictures of and videos of girls that he was having sex with. He said when he came out and said that he was having sex with an underage girl, and that was that Justice Department probe that happened, he was like, none of us defended him. And the reason why was because we saw the videos. That's what he just said. And
they didn't defend him, but they also didn't criticize him.
They also didn't criticize, and that's what I'm saying. So on two fronts. One, it's fucking the tea is hot. They want to get his ass out, so that's why this shit is doing numbers. But on the other side, don't lose sight of the fact that these Republicans are on some bullshit because they could have said something before, but they didn't. They kept on to that until now when it benefits them when they can get him expelled. Because they can get him expelled because there's House ethics violations and he's doing all these things just like they did to Madison Cawthorn. So don't get that shit fucked up.
Well, this is what I want the people in the comments to know, because I see people saying like that Republicans can flip and like this is when they get dirty. No, this is how Republicans are. Like Republicans don't have loyalty to no one except their job. Like they want to keep their seat for life. That's it. That's all you know about a Republican. A Republican is not loyal to anyone. Look at Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham completely flipped after McCain died. To a whole Trump supporter, he believes everything. Like he defends Giuliani. He tried to help steal the election in Georgia, and I'm so mad that he didn't get indicted. But this is the thing: Republicans let all of their people be dirty as hell and never speak publicly about it. As long as they have a seat, that's all they care about. Until you cross them. When you cross them, now McCarthy wants to talk about this is a guy that was indicted for underage girls and blah, blah, blah. You were the speaker. You never asked the ethics committee to investigate him. You didn't ask him to step down. So it doesn't matter now. You're not the speaker anymore. Nobody cares about when they look into it and you see, oh, this probe started 2 years ago. People going to be like, oh, why are they bringing it up now? Nobody cares about that. Like, he's not going to jail. So it's all right now. This is what they do. They get mad when they lose their job and then they try to dig up dirt. But Matt Gaetz is a MAGA Republican. He raises so much money. He's on every channel now. He's not losing his seat because the Republicans that vote for him, they don't have morals or values.
And it's going to be very interesting what you said, because again, this is the nuance and the complication. You're right, because while they are saying they want to rail against him and they want to expel him, he has the backing of Donald Trump. And again, like Donald Trump has, and I'm going to say this:
he had his backing too.
Yeah, and he did, right, and that's what I'm saying. He did it, and he's still teetering the line. Even when he did the press conference after he got removed, he was like, "Well, no, we did some great things with Trump, and whatever." But the whole point that I'm saying is that I lost the point that I was gonna make. What the fuck were we talking? What the fuck you saying, Anthony? What the fuck you just saying? I just lost my point.
About Republicans digging up dirt and they in bed with the devil. I don't know.
Yeah. Damn.
Well,
I just
they're
lost
in
my
bed.
point.
They're in bed.
They're in
They're
bed.
in bed. They're in bed scooching. They're in bed. I think Matt Gates said he crushed up ED medication and laced it and chased it down with some other
Oh yeah,
something else so he could go all night. They do all that.
Oh my god.
But
That's what he
again,
said.
you know, I guess
That's what he said.
Yeah, I guess all
He
the
said
blood
that?
rushes.
Yes,
That's what he said. All of his regular blood that should be, you know, rushing to where it needs to rush. Instead, rushes that big gigantic cranium. You know, now while this man is dissolving ED medication and alcohol to last all night, we have judges in New York that are dissolving the Trump business.
Yes.
Now, what, like, so with this, Anthony, like this, you're right there on the front lines. You're seeing it, you know, pop off. You know, what's really going on in New York? Like, what's really happening here?
Well,
Is this really going to happen?
that-
Is Donald Trump going to lose it all?
Oh yeah. Well, Trump already lost the license to conduct any business in New York. That's already decided, but the trial is not over yet. I'm glad Trump left to Mar-a-Lago today because he's been causing so much traffic in the city. It's so annoying. But he's been using this, of course, to raise money. You know, he's been selling his mugshot from Florida, not Florida, from Georgia, and he's every break that they take in the court, he's having a press conference and he's belittling the judge, the DA, even the staff of the court. But I want him to be thrown in jail. Like, why is he getting all these chances and a partial gag order? He got a partial gag order and went out and said, fuck the judge and fuck the DA. Like, I don't understand why he can't be thrown in prison so he can learn a lesson. I don't get it. But after this case is over, what you need to know is Trump will not have any businesses in New York. He will never be able to operate any businesses or his two sons. And he will owe the city a lot of money. And the lowest amount they're asking for is $250 million. And someone was on CNN yesterday that said he only has about $475 million cash. So that means he will have to sell all of his properties to pay this fine and this money back to New York City and go off to Florida before he goes to prison.
I love it. And here's the other thing. They're saying the indictment is up to $600 million that he has to pay. Yes. Considering the fact, and I mean, their minimum, I think their minimum, what they're putting forward, Attorney General Letitia James is saying $250 million. But they're saying, but the minimum, and so the maximum I think is up to $600 million. Right now, they're just trying to figure out how much that is. Given the fact that this was what they valued. By the way, they looked at all the tax documents, the financial statements, and all of that. So they know, based on those financial statements, how much he was, quote unquote, actually worth back in the day. Yes. If he was worth $250 million and they make him pay $400 million, let's just say I'm spitballing. Right. He's done. He's bankrupt for real. He's not gonna be claiming that he's bankrupt so that he doesn't have to pay taxes and take advantage of the loopholes of this country like he always claimed. But he's actually going to be bankrupt. And here's the other thing: he has a whole bunch of law bills that are coming up. Grifting can only take him but so fucking far. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Well, I don't think he's going to be completely bankrupt, unfortunately, because he does own big ass buildings in New York City. So if he sells them, they're
removing his name from those buildings. He's going to not be able to monetize.
His headquarters is in Columbus Circle. That Black Tower is right in front of Central Park. That is worth money. So he's going to have to sell all his properties in New York.
He's going to have to liquidate his assets in order to pay his assets,
which he hates to do. But I think he'll still have some money, but he's definitely going to be nowhere near a billionaire. And as we all know now, Mar-a-Lago is only worth 20-something million when he appraised it at $500 million. So he's going to be living like a regular celebrity in a $20 million, mansion, but that's if he's not in prison. But
I mean, and here's the thing. Part of it as well is, it's real estate. How much can he leverage the fact that he was a former president of the United States? Probably, I'm gonna say, let's be real. Probably a lot.
No,
but I don't know who would buy it.
What are you talking about for Mar-a-Lago?
No, I'm just saying anything
Oh,
that
right
he has to
now?
liquidate at this point.
No,
Anything
New
that he has to
York,
liquidate at this
he's
point.
not even like allowed in New York. Like he moved from New York. Like when he comes here, they have so much police. Like he's terrified of being in New York. I'm telling you, they shut down the highway when he's here. He had 24/7, like 7-block radius of police shut down for his hotel. Like he is not safe here. He knows that. But I don't think that he's gonna get much value because this is New York. Like they're gonna give you the value of the property, like take it or leave it. And at that point, he can't ask for too much. Like you gotta take what they give you because you gotta pay this bill. Because New York is gonna come after you. It's not like Cardi B or Tasha K. This is the government. They will seize your assets. You don't even have to sell it. They will seize your assets and put it up for auction.
And
get
BK is right. No, but BK in New York is right. I just went to do a quick check. Most of these buildings are not owned by Donald Trump. He has their name on them.
I don't think that he doesn't own.
No, he owns one, and that Anthony, you were correct about. He only owns one building,
the tower, the headquarters,
and that's Trump Tower. That's the only one. Huge. The rest of these buildings are not owned by Donald Trump. And who's going to make him pay? You know, that's a good question. And I think somebody asked a little bit earlier, how has he gotten away with this for so long? Hopefully.
Because he wasn't in politics. When you are not in politics, people are not looking into you, even if they know that you're doing fraud. Like Russell Simmons. How long Russell Simmons was doing scams and frauds until he got rape allegations and trying to get a TV show? That's when they look into you. When Bill Cosby trying to buy a network. When you try to be in the public, like in the face, and you try to own shit and get more power, that's when they try to take you down. That's when they investigate you. And the investigation into Trump is not recent. Like it's years like 2009 to like 2016. It's not even when he was president. So you do it to yourself when you want more power.
When you want more power. And you know, it's crazy the things that people will do for power and how they will sell out. We all know about Janae Weary. This is Janae Weary, known to many people in hip-hop circles and pop culture as Sexy Red. We know what she has pink. We know what she has that is brown, and now we know what she has that is smooth. Her brain, because it is lacking the crevices that indicate the ability to truly think critically. Because this week she came on a TV show with this man named Bon Theo, who I think is a low-key racist. And she said that she was going to be in support. She supports Donald Trump, that he's done a good job as president, and that, you know, because Donald Trump freed some people who were incarcerated, who were guilty of crimes, and he gave people stimulus checks, and that's what she feels is needed from the president of the United States to garner her support. This was a you know,
she said we need him back in office because of that.
We need him back in office. And so, you know, what are your thoughts on this? Sexy Red, these sexy.
Well,
red
she's
states.
in great company, like with rappers like Kanye West, like Kodak Black, Lil Uzi, Lil Wayne. She looked like some of them too. I'm not surprised. Like Sexy Red, she looks like trash. She is trash. I hope this actually brings her down a little bit. There is a segment of the hood, like she says, that did like Trump, right? Because he was so big back in the day in hip hop. They always used his name in hip hop. But he is clearly a racist. Like, that's not a question. And he didn't give us anything for free. We're paying it all back in tax money. Like, come on, cut it out.
Well, I think go ahead. And I was just gonna say, like, you know, I think that's all. I think it's an exaggeration that Donald Trump is noted in the hip hop community. The Trump campaign, the people that he has, they do a phenomenal job of getting talking heads and mouthpieces like Sexy Red, Akbar, whoever she is, Lil Wayne, Waka Flocka is also a part of it. The Baby's a part of it. They go after certain Kanye West. They go after certain people and they use them. They pay them or whatever. They do it. Yeah. But are they really truly influencing the real people who are fans and supporters of hip hop? I don't think they are. I think that what Vice President Kamala Harris did in hosting the 50th hip hop anniversary celebration at the vice president's home carried way more weight with the real people in the hip hop community that have actual money. Because let me say something: Sexy Red she ain't got no money.
No.
She's new to the game, and she's choosing to sacrifice the longevity of her career with the little bit of talent that she has, because the talent's not gonna carry her. Like she's no Nicki Minaj. Like Nicki Minaj is out here saying things like she's going to her MAGA doctor to get her plastic surgery done. She can get away with that. Like she got away with telling, she said that on the little Uzi Vert, some new song they have out. So Nicki can get away with her MAGA praising, but there's no way that I think someone like Sexy Red could do it. She's already on the verge. She's right on the verge of mediocrity, I think, as it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, too. And like T-Bird said, I don't even know her.
But also, like the Trump campaign threw everything at the screen last election to win, and they still lost. Like he commuted Lil Wayne's sentence, he let Kodak black out, and nobody gave a fuck. He still lost. So I don't care. They could keep on trying to buy.
Well, you know why that was, right? Because again, a lot of it hinges on the Rust Belt states. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio. A lot, I think right now, given how Miami-Dade County votes, Florida is more red than it is purple. It used to be a swing state. I no longer think that Florida is a swing state. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Which is so crazy to me.
Which is so crazy. But we need to retain Georgia. We need to retain Arizona. And we need to the Rust Belt states, the Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Ohio, Virginia. We have to do those. Virginia. We have to retain those, and we have to be able to get everything else on the table that we got, right? So like all the regular blue states. So once we do that, I think we're fine. And again, electoral college, we always are going to win the general election with the popular vote, but we're talking about the electoral vote. And the reason why some of that really didn't matter was because people, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not a big population in Wisconsin that gives a fuck about commuting, bringing Lil Wayne up there or commuting some sentences. They give a fuck about what are you doing for the manufacturing plants. That's why the Chips and Science bill was so big, right? And that's why we need to tout that, right? Because there are specific strategic points that we have to hit, because there are specific and I hate to say it, but this is because the electoral college exists, and we have to understand. This is why I'm saying we have to understand political strategy. We have to have the political acumen, and we need to be able to hit the target populations that we need to do. And
I think Biden knows that, because that's why he's the first president ever to go stand with the strike, with the workers, and stand with the labor unions. And I think Biden, is doing. He's doing it the way that old politicians did it. And I think it's working because the Republican side looks so chaotic. Like, I think even Republican voters are like, just get shit done. Like, we don't want to keep on seeing y'all on TV every fucking day. Like, just do the work for the people. And when they see that Democrats are constantly passing bills and talking about them, and then they just get held up in the House, that just shows the Republicans who is actually holding it up. Like, only the MAGA Republicans are the ones that do not care about anything getting done. Like, they just want power back. But that's only 30% of the Republican Party. So they have no shot, honestly, in winning re-election unless, like, we got into war, a recession, gas was $10 a gallon, something like that has to happen. Or COVID come back. Something has to happen for Biden to lose. Because other than that, I don't know how he will lose.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think we have a really good chance. I mean, again, I don't know how we don't. And again, for the people in the back, don't, and we say this shit all the fucking time, but just got to say it again. Don't listen to the polls, especially not this early out, especially not fucking 538. That Nate. So even though Nate Silver doesn't oversee it anymore, I understand that. But fuck the 538 still. The whole point is, who are we asking? I'm constantly breaking down the fucking polls and saying that the polls don't fucking matter. I'm looking at the statistics. I'm looking at the crosstabs. I'm looking at the demographic information. Sometimes they don't tell you the specifics, and you have to break it down and you have to make correlations based on the trends. And sometimes you have to see that the majority of the people in there are suburban and that they're homeowners, and so they make more than $50,000 a year, the overwhelming majority. And so that will tell you that they trend Republican or they trend conservative because they vote fiscally conservative. Like, there are ways that you can tell. And you can't look at these fucking headlines. This whole thing now of Biden and Trump being in dead heat is some bullshit. There's just no way that. And again, I'm not saying that there's not people who are MAGA supporters that still exist. They will always be the cult following, and that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying the people in the middle who are the vast majority of America, who are the centrists, the moderates, the independents. There's a lot of people seeing what's going on.
It's simple math. Think about it. Look, if they're polling 100 people, right? Let's say 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. 30% of the Republican side is Trump. He's always going to win on the Republican side. So it's not fair when you're comparing those statistics, but they don't even matter because even like Matt Gaetz, right? Matt Gaetz is doing all of this to impress Donald Trump. Little do he know, he's going to find out real quick that Donald Trump, once he can't use you, he's going to throw your ass out, right? But Matt Gaetz himself was on CNN on Monday, and he was saying, oh, they don't really like me that much on Fox right now. Like, you're not even allowed on Fox right now because you're going against the establishment. Like, once you upset too many people over there, they're going to turn on you. And I won't be surprised if they do expose Matt Gaetz from the Republican Party and take him off all committees because there's enough career politicians to do it. And the thing is that if they did it to Liz Cheney, who just stood up for January 6th, who they now agree that it was the terrible moment in the country history, they will do it to Matt Gaetz because none of them are going to gain from Matt Gaetz. All he's doing is making them, he's showing the shit show that they are in public.
And let me say this, they censored her, but they didn't remove her. And they didn't remove her. And they censored her, but they didn't remove her. And let me also,
they made her lose her seat though.
But here's what I'm saying. And I tweeted this. Make no mistake about it. The old guard, the establishment GOP, the old money, the establishment Republican, oh, they mad.
Yeah.
Oh, they are mad as fuck. The fucking Karl Roves, the fucking dead Rush Limbaughs, the fucking the motherfucking. Oh, they are mad as a motherfucker.
The ones in the house are all they talk about is how much money McCarty brought in. That's all they talk about. How much money he was able to fundraise, and he's the one that fundraised the most for the Republican Party in history. That's all they care about. All they care about is money.
That's what I'm saying. They are mad. The fucking frozen Mitch McConnells, they are mad as fuck. Like the reality of the situation.
McConnell,
the mannequin challenge. The thing about it's with them is they are mad and they have old money. And what I'm saying is that I think Donald Trump's support is waning. I don't think that he's as strong as I mean, there was no supporters that came out, there was no supporters that came
at the courthouses, and he really had it. You would see it and even when I was in Atlanta, I said I was so disappointed in Georgia that only Georgia had a crowd of protesters outside of the jail.
And no, it wasn't real. No. That was staged. No, it was staged. Those were paid actors.
But there was like a lot of research. It's still terrible because guess what? The people that the outlets that are gonna share it, they're gonna buy it. Because look, Diamond and Silk. Oh, we have to do. But look, Diamond and Silk was on the payroll.
Just like Siobhan said. And I want to say this. Thank you so much, T-Bird, for following the page. It's not, look, I need you to follow me, people. Listen, it's not like I'm sitting up here throwing out bullshit videos every fucking day of garbage. So if you follow and something comes across your feed, it will be of quality. I need you to follow. And when, the video does come, just give it fucking 3 minutes. Can I have 3 minutes? Can you follow? Can I have a subscribe? Like, click subscribe. You are watching it. I know you're here to see Brian. Let me tell you what we'll do. I will film his feet for you. Okay? If you're here to see Anthony, I will have Anthony do a hair shaking video showing his behind. So we'll get you all that you want to see if you follow the freaking. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it, Anthony. That's what I'm saying. We're giving out your better assets, people, so that I can't show my better asset on YouTube. But we could work something out maybe one day one-on-one. You hit me in the DMs. Now listen,
right.
This is what so follow, but I also want to emphasize, just like Siobhan has said here, we need to get in front of the disinformation. Like, that is my argument. I have been saying that from the moment I've gotten here, is that that's what Democrats have to find a way to do, and they're not doing it. What you saw from Black people in Atlanta was disinformation. That there were people in the hood supporting Donald Trump, and those were paid actors. The fact I had to dig and research in order to find them that they were paid actors, and most people don't even know that. That's what I'm talking about. That is somebody's job.
Black Trump supporters.
No, there are, of course.
He got the highest
like
votes from the black community in history for a Republican. So there is
Republican. That is true.
Now, Diamond and Silk was on his payroll until Diamond died, and he didn't even know who she was. Now, there is going to be misinformation, right? But we can't get in front of all of that. We have to focus on what's the facts and what's actually happening and just stay on that course. If our job is to like combat them with fact checking every single day, guess what? We won't ever be able to get to do any work, and we will never get anything done by Democrats because they do it on purpose. They do this on purpose every single day. We saw it with Trump in 2016. You know what? That was the problem in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. In 2016, there was so much trying to combat Kellyanne Conway on CNN that we weren't really focusing on getting Hillary elected. We took it. We thought it was in the bag because there was so many lies being told, and we thought that nobody was going to believe the shit, but they believed it. So I don't really believe in battling the misinformation. If you have a brain, you look at what they're saying and then what the other side is saying, and then you find out the facts yourself. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has a computer. Everybody can use Google and get the facts. And if
you gotta do the work. No, you gotta do both. Yeah, you're yes. What you're saying is accurate. It's up to the people, but the disinformation is winning. Yeah. That's the problem.
It's not winning.
Yes, it is.
It's not winning.
If all you see, Anthony,
Zack, if it was winning, there wouldn't be a civil war in the house right now. Why are they fighting each other if they were winning? They're not winning. They would have won if they would have shut the government down. Because then they would have said it's the Democrats' fault. Because they shut the government down to fund Ukraine. That's what the plan was. It didn't happen.
That's a good point. No, that's a good point.
That's a good point. I agree. That's a good point.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I think there's a marriage. Anthony, I think you're right. I think that there was a lot of bank and stock put in Hillary Clinton being an establishment person who had the experience, and they positioned her to be somebody who she was going to win because there was no way that in hell that this person was going to appeal to the specific sect of voters. And at the end of the day, he did appeal to those, white voters in the Rust Belt states, in the the manufacturing industry who live in fucking Battle Creek, Michigan, who don't really give a fuck what person, what bathroom people uses, right? He was able to talk to the common uneducated man and woman and said and said, I win with the poorly educated with his accordion hands, right? So the reality of it is, I think that we definitely have to celebrate the wins. So we definitely have to talk. So I agree with you, Anthony. I think that we have to do that. I think in order for us to really get ahead, like what I think Siobhan was saying, that in order for us to really get ahead of that misinformation, the way that we need to do it is it needs to be a very coordinated effort, which I think right now, we're starting to get to that point, but I don't think we're at that point right now. I think that, but I think it's also before the campaign, right? I think that there needs to be a space where we can say, and this is why I always say, and this is why Zack and I and Kenny, and when we talk about this on the show, we need to get to a space where we are funding creators that are, again, on social media, getting to the people. And we need to be able to talk to the everyday people who are not consuming CNN, who are not consuming MSNBC or whatever fucking other thing is. They're not reading newspaper articles. They're not listening to the politicians. Hell, they're not going to the council meetings, right? So at the end of the day, we need to be able to get to the common person. And we're not able to do that if people are not incentivized to do the work. Unfortunately, that's how some people function. We don't do that. We fucking up here and we doing the good fight. Right now, we on this shit YouTube for free, live for free 99. You know what I'm saying? With no fucking compensation, but we over here doing the good work because we're passionate about being able to tell the truth.
Anthony needed that money because his free 99 internet just kicked his ass off. But hopefully he'll be coming right back shortly. We're getting ready to talk about his podcast. So hopefully Anthony will hop back on. But I think, you're right. Like there needs to be, and again, there is an audience for it. Look at the Young Turks. Look how big they grew their platform only to be bought and sold for their own personal interest, right? So the need is there, and we need it. And that's why, hopefully Anthony will pop back shortly. Hold on, maybe his phone, he just texted. Let me see what Anthony just said. It's frozen.
We'll get him on. I'll talk. You do your thing. So look, the reality of it is, people, We need to get to a place as a if we're going to be serious about this as a political institution, there needs to be a coordinated effort to get people together, galvanized, supported, incentivized through all types of channels, right? I think citizen journalism is something that has gone on the rise as everybody has a fucking phone. Everybody can make a video and post it on TikTok. I think that there is an oversaturation of content out there, but you know what? We appreciate that.
That's why Elon Musk bought Twitter. And now we have the Malcolm X app, and that's why he's constantly talking to all these new posts this week about citizen journalism. He's doing it because on TikTok, the real people with real interests were winning the war against disinformation. So now he's bought Twitter, and he's promoting disinformation to make it citizen journalism when it's really yellow journalism, when it's really like the exact same level of what's it called, muckraking and garbage journalism that we had in the 1920s. That is what Elon Musk is bringing to the Malcolm X app with the little excrements that are being dropped every single day. So, because we were winning and now we're losing it again, we got to be careful with that. And I agree right here, my friend, with Levani. We need to definitely take the money out, but we know that's not going to happen because Congress benefits too much from the money.
Correct. And let me also say this about Twitter, because this is something that just came out. See, this is why this shit has been such a fucking busy ass news week. And I'm glad I took off from my job because I needed to be focusing on this shit. The reality of it is right now, Elon Musk has removed headlines from news articles and links that are published on Twitter. And so the actual journalists who we follow, Tristan Snell, Michael Singleton, whatever his name is, these people are now up in arms. And there was a post about it because they're removing the headline. So now it'll just be the block of the thumbnail, but no text. And so now people can't see headlines. So now people are saying Twitter is unusable. And the reason, again, is to kill the app, to close it down. Because, again, we are winning. This is why Republicans are so mad. If you see them on the debate stage and they're saying, oh, TikTok is so bad. I have yet to see any evidence that has come from any credible, reputable news source or governmental website or government entity that has said that TikTok is a dangerous place to be on because it is owned by Chinese. It is a Chinese company, but we don't know any. At least I have not seen that intel or intelligence. And so for me, what I'm saying is I'm only hearing these Republicans rail against it because they know we've been fucking going viral. It's the reason why you have all this suppression going on for our voices. It's the reason why some of our content can't even get through the fucking channels. It's the reason why we have to be so incredibly astute, aware, and do the research to find out how these algorithms work so that we can break through certain things. They don't want it. Like we are winning the war in terms of bringing the message through social media and bringing the facts. They're losing it in that regard. They still have the old brick and mortar volunteer efforts that go into the communities, which is important too. They have a stronghold on that, but we have a stronghold on social media. And if we can continue to capitalize that, we can be in a better place.
I agree. I'm hoping that the Threads app is going to continue to catch on and continue to grow, and that they're going to learn how to make the app more user-friendly so it can be a true competitor to the Malcolm X app. Now, and I'm not a fan of Meta. I'm not a fan of Mark Zuckerberg, but I feel as though Meta has already suffered through lawsuits, major payouts for disinformation, that they're going to be less inclined to be given to political sway in the way that I think that Elon Musk himself has been purchased and bought out. So that's what I'm hoping happens. Anthony is coming back. It seems as though he may have been the victim of misinformation as he was yanked off of the podcast. But Anthony has a phenomenal podcast, and you can also stop and subscribe to his podcast called By Latin Men. They are here on YouTube. They have their own very successful YouTube channel, but they also are, of course, on every streaming platform that you can go on where podcasts are streamed. So you can also, check them out, and they do really great work. Like, to me, this is something that should be continuously funded, right? Because they are reaching a community with their voices that is typically ignored from political cycles and political outreach. This is what could be the combat to the disinformation, directly speaking to our Latin American community, our Latin and Hispanic community right in the United States. Like, it's needed, it's necessary, and we want them. You know, this is what I'm saying when we talk about disinformation and funding. Anthony, welcome back. I was talking about the podcast.
Sorry, I mean, I was spitting so many facts about misinformation. The AI said,
"You gotta go."
Listen, real quick, what I wanted to say about the misinformation, right? That is the tool that that's the only tool Republicans have at this point. And they used it in 2020, it did not work. They used it in 2018 with the caravans, it didn't work. They used it in 2022, it did not work. It's not gonna work in 2024. I think that Democrats are always like so scared and like always feeling like we gotta do X, Y, like calm down. We got it in the bag. As long as we are actually getting shit done that we could talk about, that's what the Republicans can't do. They have no successes to talk about. So we don't have to worry about all of that. We need to calm down. We need to worry about when Biden and Kamala is on the debate stage and they fact check them in real time. That's when the general public will know who to believe and who not to believe. Am I freezing up or am I good?
It'll be good, I think, once the actual playback happens. I think it'll be fine. Sometimes it looks that way, but then when you actually see it play through, YouTube kind of fixes it and smooths it out.
But this is how you know. Wait, hold on. Before you go on, this is how you know Anthony's looking at himself while he's speaking. Yes. He's not looking at the camera. He wants to see.
I forgot that I'm using my camera.
You know, Anthony, I hope that you're right. It's a very optimistic point of view that you've taken. We'll see.
We won in 2020. And it was a big win. It was a huge win.
Anthony, I really think sometimes because you live in New York, you don't get the full perspective of what life is like in a non-progressive state. It is a very different place.
I understand that. But look at what Biden did. Look at what Biden did. Even after Trump did the motherfucking Supreme Court for them and the taxes for the billionaires, nothing, they still didn't, that didn't save him. Even the stimulus didn't save him. The vaccine didn't save him. So what is there to tell about a 2%, like a 2 trillion tax cut for billionaires? What can he really run on? Except a witch hunt.
Fear, racism, transphobia, culture wars, xenophobia, like, I mean, all the isms, right? Zero sum policy. I mean, it's the same thing. I think it's really, look, Biden is obviously running again. Kamala Harris is going to be the vice president on the ticket. Like that. Let's just put that out there because people in the verses of like social media like to talk about all these different shit. They're going to be they're going to be the ticket. Yes. The question is going to be not whether or not, like, yes, it's going to be the messaging. Yes, we have to get it out there. Yes, all of that. We have to celebrate the wins. We have to combat all that stuff. Yes. Yeah. But it's really going to come down to, and this is what elections always come down to, do people feel and think that there was actual progress? Independent of facts. We talk about the facts all the time. But politics never comes down to the facts. It's because here's the thing. A lot of things. But here's the thing. A lot of people, and here's a good microcosm example. A lot of people will continuously to this day, and I just saw Tiff put this tweet out. Yeah. People will say, "Oh, well, eggs is $8. Eggs is $8." Mm-hmm. She literally just screenshotted from like, I don't even know, a fucking grocery store, and it said $1.19, and she was like, "Stop fucking." She said, "Stop fucking lying." But it's not about whether or not people will. I mean, people can go to the store. People go to the grocery store. They buy shit all the time. Exactly. They do, but they do that all the time, and that's the fact. They know it because they buy. Yeah. But do they feel like inflation is still high? Right. That's going to be the difference. But it doesn't matter.
It depends on where you live. And if you live in California, they got $7 gas. If you live in New York, we got $3.50. Like,
but $7 gas. But $7 gas in California is the thing that always happens. It's not an anomaly.
This is something that we have to do. We have to stop calling it inflation and start calling it greedflation, because inflation implies that it's about the economic decisions of leadership. Yes. But greedflation is the reality of what we're facing in America,
reality, right?
The corporations are wanting more and more money because the American people have more and more money. with American unemployment being at an all-time low.
Yeah.
With American unemployment being at an all-time low, and month after month after month of job numbers improving because of the economic policies of President Biden to bring this country back from the verge of disaster, we have more money in the American economy.
Yeah.
Eggs are $8, even though they're not, right? Because people can
anymore.
buy
They were at
$8
one
eggs.
point. They were for 2 months.
We have to call it what it is, and this type of messaging and somebody getting out and saying this should be exactly what the fucking paid Democratic media strategists are doing. Okay, that's their job. That what I just did about inflation to greedflation is their job.
Their job. I don't agree with what Bird said though.
Well, but
we did not win in 2020.
How long should foreplay last? Okay.
Listen, we did not win in 2020 because of an urgency vote because people were dying. Because if that was the case, we would have flipped Texas, Florida. We would have flipped Georgia. All these states where COVID started ramping up.
Flip Georgia.
And people died. Like, come on.
We flipped Georgia. I, agree to disagree with that. But tell us about this podcast. I don't know what was the answer to how long should foreplay last?
I believe it should last maybe like 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Because the actual penetration shouldn't last more than 15 to 20. So then that way you get an hour. So that's my math.
Yeah, a good hour. Okay. You got things to do. You got other stuff.
Right.
You hungry. You've been
First of all, who that like come on. When you watch porn by yourself, you don't even last that long. So like
not true. Not true. It ain't true for anybody. I'm just saying
looking for it.
No. I'm just saying for me personally, I'm not a fan of quickies. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't fulfill me. Like, and if we're gonna do quickies, we're gonna do multiple rounds. For me,
oh no, you can do multiple rounds, but multiple rounds implies that you get to the point in a certain amount of time.
I mean, I don't know how real we can get on YouTube, but I'm just saying.
You're drinking whatever Matt Gaetz is drinking.
No, nah. I'm just saying. Listen, I'm viral out here. These streets. Listen,
you got stamina. You got staying power.
I'm a young tenderoni of 27 years old up in this motherfucker.
But if the sex is good, you ain't pounding somebody for 20 minutes without coming. Like, come on.
No, Anthony, just because you over here.
It ain't that good then. It ain't that good. Now, on to the podcast.
Yeah, go to the podcast. Bro, can you put that back on the podcast? Good. This y'all make me talk. I forget we on live. Go ahead, put that shit on.
Now, on to the podcast. So, By Latin Men is a podcast. We talk about everything: politics, music, sports, pop culture, love, sex, relationships, everything. So the most that we do on there is argue, obviously. We debate a lot. We argue. We have a lot of guests, though. Music artists and actors and other podcasters or YouTubers. So you should come and listen to the podcast because it's very fun. It's very entertaining.
No, it's excellent. It's very entertaining. It's a great piece.
Educational.
Absolutely.
It's a great piece of social commentary that is needed at this time. And it is fulfilling a need in our community to give voice to the issues that our Latin men care about in this country. And I think it's a beautiful piece. I love it. I'm very thankful that you guys exist. I'm thankful for the work that you and Kevin are doing.
Yes,
and I just hope that it continues to grow to where that you guys can continue to invest your time in the work because it is worthwhile work to invest.
Thank you. So everybody can just follow the podcast on Instagram. It's at By Latin Men. It's BY Latin Men, not BI like the porn site.
Not like the porn site. So, guys, also, though, this and another really, and I hope that we can have Anthony, hopefully soon Kevin can join us.
Yes.
This is Hispanic American.
We just got home.
Month. Okay. So for both of you gentlemen, what do you guys, just opening the floor up as we celebrate the accomplishments of the Hispanic community in this country and what they've contributed to this country. Thoughts to add to this?
Anthony?
I mean, I'm glad that it is something that is celebrated in this country because we know that this country loves to erase history and to act like, Latinos, Black people didn't really add anything to it when we invent everything. We are the culture. So I am proud that we get to celebrate this. I live in New York City, luckily. So we are lucky and blessed in New York that when it is National Hispanic Heritage Month or Black History Month, you see it everywhere. Everybody has events. Restaurants have events around it. It's celebrated. It's posters everywhere. They even did like a Selena viewing at the Empire State Building, which is kind of racist a little bit to me. But it's things that are acknowledged, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel like, you know, like you are part of this country. When we came from like a dark time, like having Donald Trump as president, where it felt like you didn't belong here. He literally told you to go back where you came from. So that's why I'm proud of having this month and being a Latino and being able to have a platform and have an opinion.
Here's what I will say. I think that for me, I will take the time to say, yeah, I'll echo all of that. I think that there has to be a certain pride that's around it. I think for me, what I do hope and wish is that we can get to a place where Latinos are as much a community as people think that they are. Right. Because there are so many subdivisions, so many different, like Latin America encompasses all of South America. Mm-hmm. It also encompasses the Caribbean, Caribbean islands and countries. And so it's super important that I think for me, if we're going to talk about pride of Hispanic heritage, that it's important that we look inward as a Latino, as an Afro-Latino, that to look inward and come to a place where we can understand like there are things we need to work on. And also there's reasons why there's just so many divisions, and like a lot of people are super confused all the time. They're like, well, how is it that the Mexicans in Texas vote one way, but the Puerto Ricans and, Dominicans and, et cetera, that live in New York vote differently. But then also you have Miami-Dade County, you have Cuban American, like there's so much that people don't know about it. And so I think that there's a lot of let's just check a box and say that we are celebrating the heritage and saying that we're gonna do this for this community of people. But I think and that's the thing of Latinos have to do that. Latinos have to do the work to come to really get to the place to break down those barriers and those divides. That's why I really appreciate By Latin Men, because y'all talk about all of these things. Kevin, even with his, like on his personal channel, he does here's why, where he breaks down certain things for Latinos. And so I appreciate that as well.
And I think it's good to highlight that this is National Hispanic Heritage Month. And the importance of that is because when Latinos first came to America, it was looked down on that you spoke Spanish. You had to learn English, and a lot of families that came here actually never taught their kids how to speak Spanish because they felt like their kids wouldn't have the same opportunities as someone who only spoke English, or they felt like if they knew both languages, they wouldn't be as strong as speaking English. But in today's world, we know that you can get a better job if you're bilingual. There's nothing to be ashamed of knowing how to speak Spanish and speaking Spanish and English, and you can speak both of them proficiently. So I think that's a big, big thing about this month, because the difference between Latin and Latino and Hispanic. A Hispanic is a Latino that also speaks Spanish.
Correct.
And not speak Spanish. And honestly, being in New York, there's a lot of people that don't speak Spanish because New York is one of the cities, just like Miami, where most Latinos move to when they first come to America. And unfortunately, from that generation, even my parents, like in the 80s and 70s, they didn't teach their kids how to speak Spanish. And we all know after 3 years old, it's hard to learn a language. So if we don't put in the effort, like in our 20s and 30s or in college, to learn Spanish, we're not going to teach our kids either. So there's generations of Latinos in this country that do not speak Spanish. So that's why this month is very important to acknowledge and to like lift the shame up and off of people that can speak Spanish and English.
Oh, that's a beautiful statement. It's not only, Hispanic Heritage Month spans two months, September the 15th to October 15th, and October the 1st begins LGBTQ or Gay History Month. And so this month is Gay History Month. I want you both to think about a gay leader, figure, or person who you feel is inspirational, that we want to say, recognize, shout out, and just, thank that ancestor for his or her contribution. I also in that time frame want to acknowledge the model ally that Senator Dianne Feinstein was. Was she perfect? No. Did she do things that I wouldn't have agreed with at times in her legislative career? Yes. But her advocacy for the community was instrumental in helping America realize the value that all people brought to this country, specifically those who are LGBTQ. So in her passing, we celebrate her, we recognize her, and we also lift her up. Lavani identified and recognized her friend, Harvey Milk, as someone to also an ancestor to lift up. Gentlemen, do you guys have anyone to bring to the table?
Yes, Brian, go first.
I don't have one in particular. I do want to uplift and shine Black trans women, who are usually the most targeted in society, considering intersectionality, right, in terms of oppression, bottom of the barrel, least supported, and again, usually agitators to movements that actually cause progress in society. So I want to uplift that, because I feel like sometimes when we think about LGBTQIA+, unfortunately, the people who have the most media coverage are the white gays. Let's just be honest. And to be honest with you, I mean, that happens all the time, like just with every sector, right? So at the end of the day, like I just feel like we should be highlighting people who are usually the most marginalized, most oppressed, and always forgotten.
Yes. And to go into that kind of direction too, because I don't even want to talk about a politician or someone that anybody will say. I'm actually going to say RuPaul. And I'm going to say this because
RuPaul.
And I'm going to say this because I was late to the game. I was very late to the game. Like the first time I ever watched Drag Race was like 2019. And watching this since 2019, and then like doing my own research on him and watching his documentary, it's just amazing to see like someone of his stature and who he is, right? Because he's not only a gay man, he's a Black man in his 60s and a drag queen that's known around the world. And the only one, his documentary about his life. It's just about his life. Like how he started as a street walker.
Where can we see this? What can we see his documentary?
I know his. I need to watch that, but I know he just put out his memoir. He just posted about his memoir. He just posted a memoir. He's like, I was so like, but I think Anthony, I think you may be right. There may be something, because I know there's a lot of footage of him in early life in New York City, when he was on the streets and all the stuff, and how he really got on. So there may be a documentary. If there is, I need to watch it.
Documentary where he sat down and then he talked about his life, and they showed clips, and then he reflected on them. And I think that for him to be on a huge platform like MTV, like he was on VH1, like he's on streaming networks, he has worldwide shows, like he has brought Drag Race to other continents. It's just amazing that he's been able to do that being himself. And it sucks that there's only one person like him doing it, but to even have that should be celebrated and acknowledged, because it speaks volume.
And let me say this, Anthony, to your point, yes. And also the fact that he has launched the career of so many of those girls that have come through that damn show. And that's the other thing. When you get to that place, there's a difference between a content creator and a content curator. A content creator is the one who creates the content, puts it out there, right? Content curator looks for other talent, and he's been able to curate that for people and build platforms. I mean, these people, Bianca, I mean, just all the winners. Like, you can list all the winners.
Yeah, he's transformed their lives.
But even the people who weren't winners.
Yeah,
we know, we know Pork Chop, we know motherfucker, and she was the first one to ever be, eliminated in season 1, right? But she's still here. Right. And again, this is the livelihood, Vanjie, right? This is the livelihood of these people, and now they have a residency in Las Vegas and all this stuff. So had it for a while, right? But I'm just saying, like, building that platform for people,
and the fact that he himself has grown throughout that show, where in the beginning, for years, people didn't know that he wouldn't allow trans drag queens. He wouldn't allow cisgendered or straight drag queens or drag kings, they call them, on the show because he felt like he had to like gatekeep it for gays because it was just so hard for just the gays to get to that platform. But then as the world changed and gay marriage got passed and it was being more accepted, but then when Trump won is when he saw that we still didn't make it. Like they look at us monolithically. So like I'm over here trying to gatekeep something that I think that it's for us, but the whole community benefits from this platform and they look at us as a community. So even though we're not that, they group us in with that. They group in drag queens and transgenders and try to, you know, demonize them and make them like monsters. So then him allowing trans drag queens changed the game. And he needs to be applauded for that.
Well, I want to recognize in Gay History Month,
yes,
LGBTQI plus History Month, the amazing LaFonza Butler of the great state of Mississippi. She is from a small country town called Magnolia. I'm a Mississippi native, so I'm familiar with it. She is a graduate of an HBCU, Jackson State University. She graduated with my best friend, Kenji Bell, where they took courses together in sociology and political science. She was an amazing student even then. She left Mississippi and began her career serving immediately the public through the work of being a lobbyist for nurses and for union organizers to get people the money they deserved in service fields before she ultimately got involved in politics, working ultimately as an advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris's 2020 election campaign. She's been a California resident, done amazing work in California for the people, always in service. She worked for Uber as their director of public policy. She is married to Naniki Lee. She has a beautiful daughter who she loves and is devoted to. And this woman is now the first openly gay United States senator in the history of these United States of America, a true trailblazer. And when you talk about what RuPaul had to overcome, I want you to think about what a Black lesbian in rural Mississippi had to overcome to be where she is now. The former president just leaving the position of Emmys List. This woman committed her whole entire life to service and probably never thought that she would be where she is now, able to serve as a senator, because she and I, similar ages. We're the same age. She and I, same age. Graduated same times, right? The same graduating class from high school, the same graduating class from college. And I know that those types of dreams were dreams that I would not have been, you dare not dream so big in a place like Mississippi. So for her to be where she is now, it is a point of pride for me, hopefully for every single Black person, every single woman, and every single gay person in America. So she is a person I recognize on today as we talk about Gay History Month.
And the thing in common of everybody we talked about is none of them were handed anything in life. They all had to fight for where they got, and they earned it, and they still had to fight to stay there. And they still have to prove their point even today. So
well, they're still fighting. They're still fighting.
Still fighting.
There's a whole lot of people that are fighting for Katie Porter to be the senator from California. There's a whole lot of people who are going to be fighting for Adam Schiff, and a whole lot of people are going to be fighting for Barbara Lee. So this is going to be, an uphill battle for her to stay there. But it doesn't matter to me if she stays there or not. What matters to me is that she does what she wants to do, continue to be a service to people, because history has already been made.
History has already been made. See, we make history on the good side. The Republicans is making the wrong history. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo everything y'all say, because I haven't done my research on LaFonza Butler. I know that she was but you said CEO of Emily's List, right?
She was the president of Emily's List. And Emily's List is an organization committed to getting women elected to office through the democratic process who are in support of bodily autonomy for women, or woman's right to choose what is best for her body and her health. That is the focus of Emily's List. And she was the first Black person to lead this organization. And she has done an amazing job of getting pro choice candidates elected across this country.
Yeah.
So she knows how to win. She knows how to run a campaign. Yeah. She knows what she's doing. This is a level of
she can get herself elected.
She's the kind of person I would want to see leading the DNC.
Yeah.
Because she's proven that she knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So
and she's replacing Kamala Harris as the only Black woman in the Senate. So that's great.
It's amazing. And she worked for, so it's a full circle moment in so many ways. So gentlemen, with that being said, to all of you who have watched us tonight, we appreciate you. We thank you. We hope that you come back next Thursday when we hope to return to our regular time slot with Kenny. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. Join us anytime. If there's any time you guys have, I know when you guys have relaunched a new season, you're getting ready and planning for your tour. We would love to have you guys here anytime to talk about any of those things at any given time. Use our audience, use our platform, use our voices to amplify your message and amplify your work. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you.